All right. All right, you looking live at Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ. I tell you what, and I have my dad, my co-host, here with me. And welcome to our live. We're going in. Did you want to say what's up to the people?
What's up to the people on Saturday night? Saturday Night Live.
That's what's up. So, yeah. So I named the video. The Cowboys have their hands full with Micah, and you kind of know what I mean by that. So did you want to kind of what are your thoughts on that? You know what I mean by that. So can you break it down for them? What I mean by that?
So Michael Parsons, he kind of put it all out there that he wanted to go ahead and get his contract situated, and he's really just talking about coming in early, being with his teammates, being with the rookies. So he expressed a desire just to get everything done early. He and his agent, they know what type of games the Cowboys front office play with these contracts. So he's just putting it all out there on the table and putting the onus on them. That's basically what he's doing. So we're just gonna see how it plays out. And I think Micah is an unusual client for the Cowboys. So it's gonna be fun to just watch it all play out because he's not a regular client, as they say.
Nah, he's not a regular client, and he's caused a little bit of a stir up, with a lot of fans and with a lot of NFL fans in general, by the way that he has his podcast going and he's always live, and they like to say, oh, he's focused on he's not focused on the game, and he's more focused on podcasting. But it's kind of like, yeah, you could say that, but he leads what he's the best player on our team. He's still an all-pro. He's the best player at his position, if not the top. If not number one, he's number two or three. So it really just doesn't mean anything. What people have to say about that, and then also, with that comes other players as well. Other players, they have podcasts. No one says anything. You see Deebo Samuel, he has a podcast. Shador and Travis are going to have podcasts. All of the college players are going to have podcasts. That's just the way of the world. That's just the way that this new thing is going. But what I mean by that is, like you said, he's not a regular client. He's very boisterous, and if that's the word. He just says what's on his mind all the time, every day. But what I was thinking was, my theory was that, the Cowboys, they're used to players, and then the players and their agents going against the grain and saying, oh, I'm going to unfollow the Cowboys and I'm going to go to my hometown games. And they fully expect for Micah to be at the Philly games and doing all of this. And I'm up in Philly, and they expect for him to unfollow, and his agents play hardball. Well, Micah decides and says, you know what? We're going to play a hardball, but we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to say we're Cowboys for life. That's not even a question. We're not unfollowing the Cowboys. We're doubling down. We're not going to go to Philly games. We're going to say F Philly. What we're going to do is we're going to let them know, hey, instead of us dragging this thing out, let me come out and blatantly say, I want to get this contract done, and I don't want to be the highest paid player, so that way we can have extra money to help you all attack free agency. Now, if that isn't a leader of a team, of a player's player, I don't know what is. I mean, the fact that he's actually mentioned guys that are up for free agency and up for contracts, and he's actually said that he wants to take less money so that they can bring them back. That says a lot about Micah Parsons and his maturity and his character. What do you think?
So I think we got to keep a couple things in mind as well. So I do believe at the end of the day, he's going to be at the end of the day, as Steven always says, Micah is going to be the highest paid defensive player of all time. So that part is really not going to change. His agent, David Mulugeta, is one of the best agents out there. So I think his agent is going to drive a hard bargain. So when it happens, he's going to be the highest paid player. So what they're trying to do is just trying to throw it out there to put the Cowboys in a position to where they have to get this contract done early. So, even though Michael said all of those things, I still believe at the end of the day, it's going to come down to David Mulugeta and Steven just getting it done before all of these deadlines so they can have money left over in free agency. I think what's different about this go around is with content creators, all of the OGs out there that we always talk about, people like, Boss Cowboy, Jeff Kavanaugh, Big Time Show. It's a lot of people out there, Vach. Everybody knows Mike Fisher. He's the big OG on the salary cap. Everybody knows now how this salary cap works. So Stephen Jones, he can run, but he can't hide. This go around, all of the major networks are talking about how the cap really works. And so what's different is, Micah has put a shot across the bow, but at the same time, Steven, he can't hide on what's really happening. So we may just see him forced into a corner where he does have to get this thing done in a way that it does allow them to have money for free agency. And when it gets done, if it gets done early, he's not going to be able to say, hey, we don't have money for free agency, because everyone at this day and age, they know how the cap works now. So Steven can no longer manipulate the media, manipulate Cowboy fans on how the cap really works.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And it kind of, what you're saying is absolutely right. And it really can just it really ties into my point as well. So with your point and my point, we could really make a thesis out of that, because they go hand in hand. Because it's just like, because you can look at it like this. From what I said, think about it like this. We know that it doesn't matter if he's the highest paid player or not. That has nothing to do with them having money for free agency, because his contract doesn't have any. Well, it does have anything to do, something to do with it, but not in a negative way. Because if he can get paid $250 million or $200 million, and they still can free up $15 million in cap space by doing it early. So how much the contract is doesn't really matter. What matters is that they get it done before the deadline of free agency. That's what matters. And so the fact that Micah has come out and said that is just like you said. Steven can't hide, because Micah is telling them that their point is to get this done early so that they can utilize free agency. That's the whole point of that's the reason of him making the comment, is him saying that he wants to help them attack free agency.
So, and then Micah, he made a couple of comments. He said that he sort of was told by someone, of course he didn't say who or how, but he sort of intimated that his understanding is they are going to do it different this year, that they are going to participate in free agency. So at the end of the day, Stephen Jones is still Stephen Jones. It's all going to, come out when it comes out. So we have to just see how it's going to play. If I had to just bet my house on it, I would bet that they're going to wait to get him signed, just like they did with Dak, because that's what Stephen believes in. A lot of people are saying, well, Steven is lying to the media about the cap. He's not lying. He's just doing what he believes in doing. He believes that participating in free agency is not important. He believes it's just draft and develop. He believes that the free agency starts, if you're signing players on that first 2 or 3 day period, you're not doing a good job. So that's kind of what he believes in. So, but we're going to find out if he has been moved in a different direction by this player or by the media. And so that's what's going to make it just so much fun and so much good content for everybody, because look, it's about to go down. It's finna get real with Stephen Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm saying Stephen Jones because I believe it's Stephen. I don't believe it's, and a lot of people are gonna probably push back on this when I say this. I don't believe it's Jerry. I believe it's Stephen.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I've went down through there. So many people on that I can pretty much prove that it's Stephen. I can pretty much prove it. I can go back. I can go back as real far and prove it. And the first thing I'm gonna start off with is when when Jerry wanted to draft Johnny Manziel and Stephen put him up against the wall. If this was all about Jerry and Jerry made all these decisions, that Stephen wouldn't have did that and they would have drafted him. It's a whole bunch of other things that Jerry wanted to do, and it was clear that he wanted to do, or it came out later that he wanted to do, but he was not able to do because he doesn't run everything solo dolo by himself.
I also believe Stephen, it was Stephen that didn't want to keep Dez. Jerry
Correct.
did.
Well, they said that it was Stephen, and they also said that it was a couple of the players too. They had a vote on it.
Yeah, but it was. I don't think those players had any input on what Jerry wanted to do. Jerry wanted to bring Dez back. Now, a lot of people can argue whether Dez should have been brought back or not. Of course, I felt that he should have, but at the end of the day, Stephen says, I believe that was his decision. And then I think what you were probably referencing to was many, many years ago when Jerry was signed Deion Sanders and Stephen was against it. So I think that's kind of what's really coming to fruition. This Stephen is really running the team. He's making these decisions, and then Jerry has to just follow suit. Now Jerry occasionally will just let Stephen know.
I'm running. By trading a 4th round pick for Trey Lance when nobody knew about it.
Yep. And so there's some debate now about who made the decision on this Mingo trade. It sounds like the Mingo trade was an agreement from Steve and Jerry and Will McClay. I would just we're gonna find out a lot of this stuff after the fact. I would just love to know, where did Will McClay really stand on a lot of these deals? The Mingo trade, was he really in favor of that? The Trey Lance trade, was he in favor of that?
Well, what they're going to look at, and what I'm thinking they're looking at, is they're going to look at all of the 4th round wide receivers from that draft, all of the 4th round receivers in this draft coming up, all the 4th round receivers last year in that draft, and they're going to just weigh Mingo against those 4th round picks, and then they're going to say, okay, if he's better, then that's kind of what they were doing.
And that's mindless, because you don't just take a position and look at a draft and say, I'm gonna look at this player versus what if.
That's what he said. That's what he said. Yeah. Stephen said, just because they asked him, do you think that you got good value out of the Trey Lance pick and out of the Mingo pick? And he said, yeah, absolutely, because we wouldn't have gotten that kind of player in any of the 4th round picks that we had.
So 2 things, and everyone that's probably listening to this knows better. So number 1, if Mingo was in this upcoming draft, he probably doesn't even get looked at in the 4th round, because he's been in the NFL for a couple of years now. So everybody knows what he is. Number 2, what you got to look at in that 4th round is what type of players are on the board. It could be a running back there. It could be a linebacker. It could be a corner. So when you make that kind of statement, it's as if in this 4th round, in this upcoming draft, it's 32 receivers being taken, which is not the case. So that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, everything, a lot of things that they do don't make any sense. It's just like, you know, I think that Steven, Jared made a comment the other day that kind of struck me is when he was being interviewed by Sean and Bobby. It wasn't RJ was on vacation, so it was Sean and Bobby. And then Sean asked him um, about the comments that Steven made about Micah being traded or something like that. And then Jerry said, "Well, first of all, Steven didn't say that. Nobody in this organization said that." And then Jerry turned around and said, and I didn't even hear what Steven said. I didn't even listen to what Steven said. I haven't even heard it or read it, but I can tell you that he didn't say that. So it's just like, you didn't even hear what he said, but you said that he didn't say that. So that lets me know that Jerry is not listening. These interviews, like you said, are just propaganda. They're not important. It's just like what he's saying. He's not even paying attention to what Jerry's not even paying attention to what Steven's saying. He's on his own accord, answering questions on his own accord. He really just, Steven is running things, and Steven is doing his own thing, and Jerry is too. Now they come together on some things, but Steven and Will McClay are really the ones that's really like 80% really running things. Like you can see on Mozzie in the draft room when Steven clearly asked, Jerry was just talking. I watch that video all the time. Jerry just talking about what he thinks about the players and whoop-de-doo and all this.
Yeah.
But Steven, because clearly asked Will McKay, who are we picking right here? And he picked Mozzie. So Steven, Will McClay, to me, we have a talent. We have a talent. What is it called? When you look at all of we have a scouting problem. They leave too much talent on the board. Number one, they pass on talent for less talented players, and then it's just like the kid. Like for instance, the kid from what is it? Is he from TCU? Where does he go? Is it Kavion? What's his name? The one we looking at, the wide receiver.
Savion Williams.
Savion Williams, for instance. Savion Williams will be on the board like in the third round, in the fourth round, and they will pick somebody that's not even going to start. They will look right over him.
Going back to what I said earlier, in this draft that's coming up, if you put a draft board together, and on your board is Mingo and Savion Williams, like right now, 32 teams, 31 out of 32 teams will take Savion Williams over Mingo. Now, I think Savion is probably, the last I looked, he's going in the third round. So, but it's some fourth round receivers that NFL teams would take those other players over Mingo. So again, a lot of this is just kind of idiocracy. So what we're going to do, we can probably just do a whole show on where we kind of stand on Will McClay. The bottom line is that in fairness to him, every draft you have hits and misses. So we want to just kind of do a breakdown on the draft since he's been pretty much in charge, and I think you're going to find some interesting things. I wanted to say something about Micah too on his leadership thing, and one of the things that you and I talk about on our show is we're generation to generation Cowboys talk. So I'm a third generation Cowboy fan, so I have one train of thought on certain things, and you are a fourth generation, so you come at it from a different perspective. And so, like you're big on numbers and stats, and I'm big on just results and playmakers. And so on the leadership thing, what I want to say about Micah is I hope he didn't set himself up with this discussion, because he made a point that he was going to come to the mini camps and being with the rookies and all of that. So people got to remember too, Micah is a businessman. He has his own brand and company. So Michael still might have some people saying, hey, we're going to pay you millions of dollars to go to Japan, or we're going to pay you, millions of dollars to go do something here overseas. So I hope that by him saying that he's going to be at all of these different camps and stuff, if he's already got obligations, people are going to come back and say, oh, he said he was going to be. But so I said all of that to say this. it really doesn't matter if he comes to those camps or not, because what we're seeing is that Micah is Micah. He's going to show up, he's going to ball, and he's going to play. So this leadership thing, I 100% agree with Clarence Hill. He's talked about this. A shout out to Clarence Hill. He's at the end of the day, it's not really about leaders. You just need to have ballers on your team. If you got guys that can ball, the leadership stuff takes care of itself. So I just wanted to say, I hope he doesn't set himself up with talking about what he's going to do if he gets his contract, because he's really not required to do all of that.
Well, and then I be looking at Micah like, like kind of last year, Micah was there, but he wasn't there. He was just like, I'm not really, what I'm saying? Like, I'm here, but it's just like he's so good, he can do that. So it's just like, I think I think Micah got, he not setting himself up, because I don't think, I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but nobody is above Micah. He calls his own shots. He does what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it. And there's nothing that can stop that. Nobody can stop him from doing what he want to do, how he want to do it, and when he want to do it. So if he wants to if he wants to go to Japan because he got an obligation to go to Japan, in my eyes, he will only say that if he planned on going to Japan and coming to training camp. I feel like, what I mean? Like he doesn't, Micah is Micah. Micah ain't the problem. Micah is Jerry and Steven's problem, because he's the one that's, he's not our problem. He's their problem, because he's the one that's really challenging them to be better. It's just like Steven really believes that that you really draft and develop and you don't use free agency at all, because we're not asking for, the smart teams don't just do one or the other. They don't put all their eggs in one basket. They just utilize free agency in the areas where it makes sense to utilize it, and they pay that player what they're worth. It's just like Dak. Everybody's hollering about Dak should have took less money, and Dak is not paying. Dak is not worth the Dak got paid what he is worth. That's just what it is. I mean,
and Michael will as well.
Exactly, they get paid what they're worth, and this is not personal. It's not like, oh, we think Dak is worth this, and they think Dak is worth this. No, Dak is worth this. That's just what he's worth, regardless.
So I think where we are right now, as fans, as media, as new media, everyone understands that. Everyone is clear on what the realities are. So again, you can't have Stephen Jones over here just kind of doing his own thing. And so he's basically got all the eyes on him. So that's kind of where we are. So it's just, we're gonna have a front row seat, and we're gonna break it down and analyze it. So we're gonna not be on too long. I want to talk about the college football playoff. We saw Texas today get their win. So we got one of our family members, Colin Simmons, plays for Texas. Shout out to Colin. He had a big play and interception today. Texas, they did their thing with the running game. So I say they are the dark horse to win this whole thing. Now, if they can get that running game going like they did today, defense is solid. I mean, they got a really good chance. They're playing Arizona State in this next game.
Ted,
I don't even think Ted is not on that team.
Oh, where he goes?
He's on Arizona.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Arizona State has the running back that everybody's making a big deal out. I don't think he's probably going to be like a fourth rounder. His name escapes me at the moment. But I'm really liking the way the college football playoff is coming together. Obviously, they got some teams in there like Indiana, SMU, and they probably could have, put better teams in. So they're going to eventually go to 16 anyway. And this is what happens in the NCAA tournament with college basketball. You're always going to have teams that first round of playoff games, they do this. But I think it's still a good thing. And I like the way it really sets up for Texas. So we're going to be talking a little bit of Texas Longhorns as we go through this thing. But now, really excited about their win today. So what do you think about their team overall? I know you like the linebacker. Their secondary is really good.
Yeah. And yeah, I like their defensive line. Of course, I mean I'm in love with Colin, of course, but yeah, number 0, he's a baller. And then
Hill, yeah,
yeah, Hill.
he's gonna
But
be a first rounder.
yep, my thing is Sark. It's just like Sark needs to, you know what I mean, like today for instance, it's just like Sark decision making and his play calling sometimes is kind of sketchy. It's just like today. Now we discovered this running game out of nowhere. We discovered this today. This hasn't been happening all season. And then instead of just like keeping it going until they stop it, you know, he wants to drop back and pass. And then it's just like when we had the ball right before halftime. I mean, no, right before.
What happened on the drive when after Colin made the interception, they didn't get any points? What happened there?
They just went 3 and out.
They was in field goal range, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think right after that, nah, it wasn't that one, but that's what I was talking about though. It's just like right before the halftime, Sark went for it on 4th, and it was like 4th and 1, but it was like 1. It was like really like 2. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't get it, and the ball got turned around, and it's just like, well, you wasted Collins, you know, interception. That's number 1, and then number 2. It's just like you take the points right there and you just go up. I think it was 14-7 at that point. I think you just go up 17-7.
And I will say that the game was closer than it. I mean, it wasn't close in my opinion. They you know.
I think it was 24. You right there. You go up 24-7.
Yeah, so I think Texas was clearly the better team. You know, they dominated. So, but so we'll, you know, I've been a Sark guy for several years. But man, I even thought about Sark as a potential Cowboys coach, but he's never leaving Texas. Well, not for a while. Nah. But yeah, so the shout out to the Longhorns, got their first college playoff win. So I think they play. It looks like the Peach Bowl, so they're probably going to be in Atlanta again, which is interesting. I'm surprised they didn't have that game here at AT&T. But I think the way they did it, they got the bowls kind of rotating through there. So the Cotton Bowl will probably be on our next round, but I'm surprised that Jerry didn't get one of those games, unless it's just one on there that maybe it's coming up with AT&T Stadium.
I don't know. I haven't seen that, but yeah, Texas, they did good. I love their defense. I love me personally. I'm a huge Manning fan. I think Manning is the future. I think he's gonna be just awesome. Yeah, I think he's gonna be awesome. And I really want Quinn to come on out and get drafted this year.
Yeah, I think Quinn is moving on either way. So I think that's kind of how it's all gonna play out. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap. We did live. We're not gonna keep people on too long, and we get ready for this game tomorrow. I think the Cowboys are gonna be in for a tough one. Todd Bowles is gonna unleash the hounds with his blitzes. So it's gonna be interesting. We gotta wait till 7:00 again.
Yeah, and people are saying that it's really mathematically, it's really, 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 really. If we want a good draft pick, it might not be a good idea to win out. And
the way the draft is playing out now, I really think if we end up at 16 or 17, it's going to be a good player there. And the way it's looking is the receiver from Ohio State is going to be there, and some people are saying that he's the number 2 receiver anyway. So
I don't think he's better than Luther.
You don't? So we're going to see how it all plays out.
Now, Brian Broder said that, before we go, Brian Broder said that it's really like only like 20 first round great players in this draft. Yeah.
And I think we'll be good. We're gonna be somewhere. We can't drop no lower than 18. So I honestly think that we're not gonna sweep these set of games. I think we're gonna end up probably around 14. 12, 13, 14, and it'll be a good player there. I think with the first 3 picks, we got to come out with a running back and a receiver with 2 of those picks.
I just want to put Washington out. That's really it.
Well, that's going to be the game against Washington is probably going to decide their playoff fate, and it's going to be a typical knockdown, drag out. When we go up to Philly, it's going to be a tight game. You can count on it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap. You want to promote our Facebook and talk about it again, what you're working on?
So our Facebook is Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks, or Gen to Gen Cast, CAST. abbreviation. So you can just type that in on Facebook and follow us. And then also you can follow us on what is it called? What's it called? Blue Sky. My dad's name is Cowboy Joe 64 on there, and mine is I Tell You What with 2 T's. And so just follow us on Blue Sky. You can follow us on Twitter as well. At Cowboy Joe 64. Be jumping on Twitter. And then of course you can just type in DJ I Tell You What on Twitter and my stuff will pop up. And then I'm gonna eventually just change mine over to Gen to Gen Cast altogether. So eventually I'll let you know when I come on here, and then I'll let you know when the Twitter is up, and we'll already have some followers because I'm gonna just use mine, and then we're gonna do it that way. And
you're working on TikTok.
Yeah, we're gonna have TikTok, and then so I'm gonna be chopping these videos up and throwing them on TikTok. So and we're gonna have more shorts. We're gonna start doing shorts because that's what the algorithm says we need to do. So we're gonna do more shorts, and then we're gonna be putting those shorts on TikTok. And then Kara said we gotta do TikTok. Remember that. Shout out to Kara, cousin Dollface Kara. Y'all support her. Y'all can type in Dollface Kara on Facebook. She's the best makeup, whatever. What are they called?
Makeup artist.
Yeah, she's the best makeup artist. Probably, I'm gonna say Dallas for sure. But she's really, 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 really good. So y'all should check her out, follow her. And y'all make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure y'all get our hit our notification bell and hit the thumbs up so we can get some more likes and get some more views and get this algorithm to push us out.
And shout out to my Fred brother, my new brother, Big Time Show. He's starting up his TikTok page, so we want to promote that Big Time Show on TikTok. And shout out to
is it Big Time Show on TikTok?
I'm not sure I have it right. I was telling him that I'm trying to learn the whole TikTok thing. So, but we'll make sure we promote it on our page. So
I'm gonna start
get some subscribers on there.
Yeah, and I'll post the links too in the description. Yeah. So I'll post his link and our links in the description. So y'all make sure y'all click those links, and then y'all stay tuned. We'll probably come back when we're gonna do a live. What?
We want to do one Monday.
Want to do one Monday? Unless it's like
game.
Yeah, unless it's like something crazy goes on tomorrow that we have to talk about, we'll be back Monday. So we'll see y'all on Monday. We'll post it because we're gonna go live again. So we'll post on there and we'll go live and let you all know when we're coming through. So y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Be safe. Peace.
Peace.